Portugal versus Switzerland in the round of 16 of the 2022 World Cup is an event you don't want to miss. The game will be played on December 6th at the Lusail Stadium. And the winner of this matchup will play the winner of Morocco v Spain. Let's talk a bit about the results for both teams en route to the round of 16. For Portugal, they started things off with a thrilling 3-2 win over Ghana and followed things up with an impressive 2-0 victory over Uruguay. But in the final group game, Fernando Santos switched things up a bit and got sucker punched 2-1 by South Korea. They still, however, went on to top the group. As for Switzerland, they started off with a narrow 1-0 victory over Cameroon, but succumbed to a Casemiro worldie when they met Brazil. But in the highly political match versus Serbia, Switzerland prevailed in a 3-2 thriller. Let's talk a bit about the star players for both teams at the 2022 World Cup. For Portugal, I was tempted to go with Cristiano Ronaldo, but it has been Bruno Fernandes. 2 assists in that first game, followed up in the second game with a brace. He didn't feature in the last game there where they lost, though. They surely would not have lost that game with Bruno in the team. For Switzerland, there's been a lot of honest contributors so far, but I have to give it to Breel Embolo, who's come up clutch with 2 goals during the group stage. In terms of the head-to-head between these two teams, there's been a total of 25 meetings in their history. Portugal have 9 wins, Switzerland have 11, and there's been 5 games ending in draws. They met a long time ago in the 1938 World Cup where the Swiss defeated the Portuguese 2-1. And most importantly, their last meeting was in the UEFA Nations League in 2022 where the Swiss won that game 1-0 as well. But if we could recall, these teams also met in a previous edition of the Nations League where Portugal completely decimated Switzerland. All right, let's talk starting 11s for both teams. Let's start with Portugal, who does play 4-3-3 under Fernando Santos, but he could definitely switch it to a 4-1-2-1-2 formation as well. In goal, we will see Diego Costa, who's been the number 1 for the team for some time, and the back line could definitely change. I actually went with this game against Uruguay because they were at their strongest, but rotated for the match against South Korea and lost. Nuno Mendes, he's out of the World Cup. I think for this game, we will see Pepe and Ruben Diaz as a partnership again, and João Cancelo might be over in the left back position, and we could see an impressive Diego Dallo at right back. Rafael Guerreiro is the other option, but I don't think he's going to start this game. Also, Fernando Santos may want to stick with the young Antonio Silva. Maybe he'll play Antonio Silva and Ruben Diaz and give Pepe a rest. In the midfield, this is going to be interesting. Ruben Neves, he could actually start the game, but there's also William Carvalho, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and João Palhinha. I think it's going to be Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and we might actually see William Carvalho because when Neves started, actually lost that game there against South Korea. So Fernando Santos might want to go back to his big man, William, in the midfield. Up top, look, Cristiano Ronaldo, João Felix, or we could see Rafael Leao. If it's up to me, I'll go with Ronaldo and Leao because Leao, he's very deadly, man. He don't play around at all. I actually call him the smiling assassin. The man is a star. But look, is Cristiano Ronaldo going to show up for this game? It's left to be seen. Remember, Kylian Mbappe is through to the last 8. Messi is through to the last 8. Ronaldo, are you going to join him? All right, let's take a look at the Switzerland team here. So Gregor Kobel came into the match here for Jan Sommer. And I was kind of worried for Switzerland because Jan Sommer has been a rock. And after Wojciech Szczesny, I think he's up for the next best goalkeeper. And now that Szczesny is no longer in the tournament, if Sommer stays on with Switzerland, who, if they do go through, he could be putting his hand up for that award, of course. But look, Jan Sommer should come back in. He had a bout of illness, so Gregor Kobel should drop back to the bench. If that doesn't happen, Kobel is more than, good enough to actually start. The back line, is it going to remain the same? I know we're going to see Ricardo Rodriguez and Sylvain Widmer in the fullback positions. Manuel Akanji is the mainstay in defense. Are we going to see Nico Elvedi come back in for Fabian Schär? That might actually be the case. Maybe Murat Yakin just chose to give Shaw a game because it was the last group match, and you know what I mean? Like, hey, man, go out and take a little sweat. So they do play a 4-2-3-1 formation. Two holding in Granit Xhaka and Remo Freuler, who scored in the last game. So those players should be back in the team. Is Murat Yakin going to stick with Shaqiri? He scored, but he did take him out for the previous match there against Brazil, where the young Reader came in to shock most of us. We wasn't expecting that. But maybe he had it up his sleeve to rest Shaqiri for that game and bring him back versus Serbia, where he was quite effective. Jibril Sow had a better game there against Serbia. He should hold his place. Ruben Vargas, what a back he is. He should keep his place as well. And Braille Embolo should start up top. So I don't expect to see many changes at all made by Murat Yakin. All right, let's get into the key insights for both teams. For Portugal, they will be looking to reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup for just the third time, previously doing so in 1966 and in 2006. However, they failed to win any of their last 5 knockout games at the tournament, losing each of their last 4, including defeats at this stage in 2010 0-1 versus Spain and in 2018 a 2-1 loss to Uruguay. As for Switzerland won 2 of their matches in the group stage at the 2022 World Cup, losing 1 to Brazil, right? And will be looking to win 3 games in a single World Cup tournament for the first time in their history. Let's predict. Let's talk, man. Let's talk. Portugal versus Switzerland. If we ought to have a new World Cup winner, it could be one of these teams. Portugal are definitely due a World Cup. Switzerland, who once hosted the World Cup, definitely due one as well. If you ask me, that'll be a nice touch if they go on to win the World Cup. But look, first, we must separate these teams from each other. Round of 16. Portugal, as you heard, not been doing well in the last few knockout matches that they've played. Switzerland, it would take a lot for them to actually get past this Portugal team. But Switzerland, I think, are one of these teams that you cannot take lightly. They would play to the level of their opponent, pretty much, right? They play against Serbia, it was a thriller. Serbia weren't playing that good in the tournament. They play against Brazil, it took a worldie by Casemiro to beat them. They play against Cameroon, it was another 1-0 win. So it could go any way when you come up against Switzerland. There's always a chance, and there's always a chance that they will beat you. That's the beauty about this team. Very, very talented, where Murat Yakin came out and said, this has been the most talented Swiss team ever. And I do believe him. There's quality all over that field. Akanji, Elvedi, or Shaw, Vidmir has been one of the best players at the tournament. And you got Ricardo Rodriguez with that magical left foot. Wow. Midfield, the feistiness of Granit Xhaka. You have Jordan Shaqiri with his talismanic talent. And it's just a very good team. And Murat Yakin does not have a selection conundrum. He knows his best 11. He knows who he wants to put out there on the field. But while as for Fernando Santos, there's things going on in his head. You know what I'm saying? The gears are like spinning all the time, like clockwork, because he's always trying to figure out who to play. And there's been a few injuries as well. Otavio injured, Nuno Mendes injured, Danilo injured. So it kind of screwed up his plans, where he had to go and bring Pepe into the team. You know, he had to make some changes at left back. So who he's going to start? That's the thing. So many good players, but they don't all combine well all the time. You get what I'm saying? While for Switzerland, there'll be a lot of continuity. But with Portugal, you have star players who could make things happen. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of them. Bruno Fernandes is one of them. Rafael Leao is another one. And also João Felix, Bernardo Silva. These guys could pop up out of nowhere and do well. Even you saw, Ricardo Horta. He got a game and he banged one in, even though it was a losing cause. They have a lot of talent in this team. But are they going to get it right? Are we going to see an attacking Portugal or a defensive Portugal? Are we going to see the Portugal that we saw against Uruguay? Are we going to see the one that we saw against South Korea? That's the thing. This is going to be a very open game of football. I don't think Portugal is going to have most of the possession and Switzerland's going to have to be defended for their lives. I think there'll be periods where the Swiss would have a lot of the ball, take the sting out of the game, threaten with their quality players. Embolo knows where to be at the right time. You saw he scored twice. He has that instinct. Shaqiri, the delivery. Ricardo Rodriguez, the delivery. Granit Xhaka packs a punch. Even Remo Freuler, Vargas. Listen, this team is cooking right now. This team is cooking. While for Portugal, they're trying to figure things out. The pressure is on Portugal here. Because if the Swiss go out right now, nobody would criticize them. Nobody would say, Switzerland got knocked out in the round of 16, or they flopped. No. But if Portugal does, it's like, oh, what a failure. Golden generation. Get rid of Fernando Santos. You see? But with Switzerland, it's not the case. I think they have least pressure. They're going to play the freer football. And guys, I have a feeling the Swiss are going to win this game. I'm going to go for a 3-2 thriller in favor of Switzerland after extra time. 2-2. 2-2 at full time. Or maybe 1-1 at full time. And then we have a barrage of goals in extra time. But I'm going to go for Switzerland to win this game and move into the quarters to face one of Spain or Morocco. I already know who I think is going to meet in the quarterfinals. Go check out the preview that I did for the Spain versus Morocco game. All right, I'll definitely appreciate that. But guys, this World Cup has been an entertaining World Cup. Don't tell me the round of 16 is going to be boring, where the 4 completed matches, they have all been easy to predict. I got all the predictions right so far. For the rest 4, I don't want to get them right. I want to pick some left field prediction. I want to, surprise a few people. Be like, well, Dom, what's going on? Yeah. If I get the rest 4 wrong, or maybe if I get one right, the Brazil-Korea one right, if I get that one right and the others wrong, I'll be okay. But I don't want to be boring here. I'm going to grow some nuts and I'm going to predict that Switzerland beat Portugal. Okay? But check out the previews to hear what I say about the other games. Well, guys, I'm your boy Dom. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for following the journey throughout the entire World Cup. And until my next video, peace out. Rich. So, guys, are we going to see Ronaldo get knocked out of the World Cup? Or would he remain in the tournament where he could write one last chapter in his international career? Or maybe he'll just be there at the 2026 World Cup as a 40-something-year-old player. Who knows? Who knows what he's going to do? But he needs a World Cup. So does Messi. But Kylian Mbappe is probably saying he wants 2. Or is it coming home? It's left to be seen. But peace, guys.